You know I changed my life. I was in the trap OG, serving out white. Think about it day to day, day and night. Last night I had a drink, and it felt so right. In the trap was serving fiends. But work on triple B. Big 40 in my jeans. Get it by any means, by any means.
Welcome to another episode of Hip Hop Hoops. I am your host, Anthony Iguodaro. I got my co-host with me, Mr. Woods is in the building.
What up? Let's go.
Listen, we got a very, very special guest with us today.
Legendary.
Mr. Roy Rana is in the building, everybody. Well, he's not in the building, but
Let's
you get me.
go. The legendary Roy Rana in the building, man.
Yes.
How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited. This is special for me.
This is very special right here for me too.
Thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. Taking your time. You know you're a busy man. Appreciate it.
Getting ready to go to Egypt.
That's right. Listen, honestly, this is special for me. I'm honored. It means a lot. So I'm excited to share, and we'll have a few laughs along the way, I hope.
Let's do it.
Let's get right into it, Coach. I want to know the toughest moments in coaching for you, sir.
Well, I mean, I just share this because it's probably a good way to start. Early in my career, my time at Jeffries, being in the community, also being in the east end of the city that drew many communities into our school. A lot of heartbreak. We lost some kids along the way, and
right.
I thought in this was an opportunity for me to share maybe a little bit about one of my toughest memories. Would you remember OJ?
Of course.
Gregory Whitaker, who was one of our early guys that we had at Jeffries.
I remember hearing stories about you having to bring him to Lambton, like dealing with the behavior piece, right?
Yeah. Loved him. For a 16, 17-year-old kid who had so much promise, to see him go, that I'll never forget that. And obviously,
OJ.
Right. And obviously the time that I had with Justin Shepard when I was at Eastern, I had him in. I was his last coach, and those are the things that are the toughest for me. They're still sad till this day, right? Because I don't think people realize how deep my story goes in coaching, and how much those things have impacted my journey along the way. So it's another reason why I can only share these stories with you guys, because you guys have lived it as well. So those are usually my toughest times by far.
Right. All right. So you mentioned Jeffries. I got a picture for you real quick. Hopefully you can see it.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. There we go. I'm excited.
There you go. Go. The beginning stages.
Yes.
Wow, look at you, Coach. Look at you.
A young, prosperous, energetic Coach Rana.
Okay, who is this team here? I see. Is that Fitzroy?
Fitzroy Woolery,
Woolery,
Sidney Jeffrey, Paul Wright, Richard Malcolm Beast is in that picture.
Yes.
It was Eze Nwosu. That was a hell of a team. A hell of a team. One of my go ahead.
No. My question is, like, right there, like, what was the goal? Like, young up and coming teacher / coach. Like, what were your aspirations at that time? Like,
honestly, at that time, my only aspiration was to try and win a city championship. I'd never done that as a player when I was in high school. We weren't a great program, but we had a lot of fun playing the game. But, we dreamt about trying to win a city title. That's what it was all about back then. Back then you win cities, you get the OFSA, you win Tri-Cities, whatever that was. Those were our NBA championships. Those were our world championships back then.
Definitely.
Yeah, those were big. That was a big deal in the city, right? That's what Toronto Hoops was all about. So for me as a high school coach, that's all I dreamed about. I wanted to kind of join those legends, and maybe if I could win one, that would be amazing for me. So that's what I was thinking when we started.
Coach, where did you play at?
I played at Bloor Collegiate, Dufford and Bloor, west end of the city.
Lansdowne representing.
Lansdowne, Lansdowne and Bloor, just your very regular inner city, diverse public high school. That's where I played.
So
that was my experience.
In this picture, was coaching something that you knew like you wanted to do, like, and have this amazing career that you have now? Did you see this happening for yourself?
No. I mean, coaching was always something I wanted to do, right? Because I wanted to stay involved in the game. I love the game.
Yeah.
But, I only ever imagined that I would be a high school coach and that I would be a high school teacher, and that, maybe one day I'd win one title, and, I'd probably teach for my career like most teachers. And then I would, retire and collect my pension and live that kind of nice, comfortable life that teachers do. Yeah, that's all I was thinking. That's all I was thinking.
It's crazy. Okay. Well, being Indo-Canadian, how has that impacted you in your coaching career? But that's huge. Not a lot of you guys out here.
Yeah. Well, especially when I started out. So, I think it's important for everybody to understand that, that's been for me. I haven't talked about this a lot, but it's been a huge hurdle. And I can share this early on that when in my first season at Jeffries, I had an official. This guy's reffing the game. And at the end of the game, he's telling my team that, hey, your coach doesn't know what he's doing. You should tell him that he shouldn't coach the team anymore. Tell them to get rid of him, and I'll be there next week and I'll take over. Like, this is a ref doing this, So I've constantly had that. I've constantly had those types of things happen throughout my career where it's never really been blatant.
Right.
But even in my time in the NBA, small little comments,
right,
little things that don't seem like a big deal, but you're very aware that you're unique, that you're different, and that the hurdles that you have to overcome are much, much different than most people.
Right.
I didn't necessarily come from a community, right? I wasn't a former player. I didn't come from a particular community. I didn't work for a legendary coach. So really, I'm self-made, and much of it off the backs of you guys,
out
right?
the mud,
my athletes,
out the mud, coach.
But you guys were a huge part of that, right? If I didn't have you guys, I'm not sitting here either. So that's why I love to do these types of things, because everything that I have is because of you guys, the guys that were early in my career that helped me grow. So
one thing
being
you told me
has not helped.
Sorry about that, coach, but like I remember one thing you always showed me: leadership and mental toughness. That was that was you. You know what I mean? And I kind of inherited that from you. So once again, you're gonna probably hear me thanking you a lot during this interview, but that's one aspect that I have that I owe to you. So thank you.
Well, yes, you're welcome. And I'll tell you this: like, much of what I listen to, much of what I read, still is on that. Like, I'm when I go to Egypt, and hopefully in a few days, our biggest challenge there will be mental toughness for myself. I've been through so much in my career. I've taken my hits. I've lost a lot of games. The game at times has made me physically ill. Just all the travel, it's burnt me out. And it's tested my mental toughness, just like it tests all of ours, right? And you guys have been through it. Iggy, you've been through it. You played at a high level. You've faced the ups and downs and what that's all about. We're still challenged by that. It's not easy. It never stops. Mental toughness isn't just about being an athlete. It's just about being, a person, a human. And it's something that we can always take pride in, because we know you got to always respond. You're always going to take a hit. So it's really about that response.
Yes. So Coach, word on these Toronto streets is that you inherited a powerhouse team. Let's talk about that.
That Eastern team, that Eastern high school team. Man.
How was that that team right there?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. One, I didn't really plan to inherit anything when I came to Eastern, right? I left Jeffries. It was time to move on. I wanted to be part of something that was a little bigger, but I wasn't recruited to be the coach there. I was kind of brought in to be the to run the athletic department by Lucy Alta. So when I got there, it was chaos. We had a labor situation. We had a coach that was kind of in a different place mentally and wasn't sure he wanted to do it anymore. We opened the season against Silverthorne in our first game. I was not the coach at the time. We opened the season against Silverthorne. We were number 1 ranked in the province. We went and played an exhibition game. We had a guy named Mildrag, and a big guy named Jerry Sokolowski, 7'5",
big Jerry.
right? And we go into their play, right? And we go into their place and we lose by 30.
What's Kudu?
And we're the number 1 team.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Cadogan, no, this Cadogan came long ago. This Rock was on that team.
Yeah.
Rock was on that team.
Yes,
Ola
yes.
Matty,
Yes.
right.
Yes, Ola.
Jabula Murray.
Jabula.
Yeah, that was my
Nice,
that was my first team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out
And
Ice.
after that loss, coach at the time stepped down, and then I took over. And what I would say is I inherited a great program, but I didn't inherit a great team. Because what had happened was when Simeon stepped away, that was those Simeon Mars' teams at Eastern were probably the two best high school teams in Canadian history, right? With Jamal and Mark Hunt and all those guys, Colin Charles.
That team was tough.
Those were the teams.
Calvin Miko.
After,
my God.
Right.
They were
right.
Tough.
After Simeon stepped down, and Jamal left, there was about 3 or 4 years where that team really just couldn't find it, right? They kept losing to Oakwood, really lose low scoring games. They just had some really tough times. So I inherited a great program, but I didn't necessarily inherit a great team. Like we were really talented, but we just hadn't really broken through. So it took some time, and then we went on this kind of magical run for the next decade where we were unbelievable.
Nice. So you led. Let's move a little forward to Olympic time. Team Canada, I should say. All right. So you led
Sure.
Canada to its first gold medal at the World Basketball Championships with the under-19 team in 2017. You also helped the men's senior team qualify for the World Cup in 2018. Right. So how was that experience, and what was your biggest challenge coaching both teams?
Well, I'll start with the 2017 team that won the World Championship in Cairo. And I've shared this a few times, but one, we had I think 8 guys that are now in the NBA that did not play on that team.
Wow.
So Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikhil Alexander, O'Shea Brissett. We had a bunch. We had so many guys that chose not to play that summer because it was all the regular bullshit, that was going on. Some of it was on us. Some of it was the people around them. Some of it was individual choice. But like most summers, it was chaotic. I remember being on the phone at midnight the day before training camp, started, trying to convince Lindell Wigington to play because he was going to bail, and then Lindell showed up. So like we just had this crazy, lead up to the to training camp, and then we got together and we really had, what I would say is our C team, right? We didn't have our A talent. We didn't have our B talent. We had some really good talent, but we had a lot of guys on that team that if everybody showed up, they had no chance of making the team.
I
but
feel
here
that
they
always
are.
happens to us though. Like we've never gotten our full roster. Like if you look at it, we can actually make a full roster of NBA players. And it's all like it just never happed.
It's always something behind the scenes.
Something's always happened. Like if we actually did that, we would qualify. Come on.
I think so.
We got the talent right there. Like
we should be qualifying regardless. But I agree.
Because we didn't qualify, and we who wasn't playing? Shea wasn't playing. Jamal was hurt, obviously.
Yeah.
Tristan didn't play.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the senior level, right? There's a whole bunch of different things that come into play. Much of it is about money, contracts. So there's some things that you just can't control, right? If you're in a contract year, I would be telling you don't play. Like you don't risk injury. I spent last summer with Germany in the Olympics, and the reason why I was part of that staff was because of Dennis Schroeder. I coached Dennis in the Hoop Summit, and Dennis and I are very close.
Right.
And Dennis was the one who was like Rana, we need you, man. Like we need you on this. We need you in our team. We need you in our program. We need you to help us. And I said, okay, but I'll help you guys. And when push came to shove, I said to Dennis, like, you can't play. Like, it doesn't make sense. You're in a contract year. Like, if you get hurt, like you're just risking too much. Go make your money. And he didn't play, but we still got it done. We qualified. We got to the Olympics again with not a very strong team. So at the senior level, there's different factors that come into play. At the age group level, it's not money. It's usually about control and ego and power and college coaches, and it's about all that kind of stuff most of the time. But going back to that group in 2017, here we are. We take this group on the floor. Great guys. They've done really well. We have some really talented kids. And you know, there's still expectation, right? Anytime any team I coach, I'm expecting to win.
Bottom line.
And we get down to Cairo, and we lose in pool play to Spain.
Yes.
And Abu Kijab, who's at Boise State right now, he's a senior, like incredible, just one of those guys that, you know, he wouldn't have been out of place back in the day playing in a Finch team or where, you know, playing in Rexdale. Like, he's just tough as nails. Like, it's just, so we get into the locker room after we lose to Spain, and he snaps, he throws his phone, he smashes his phone, he's trying to tear up the locker room. You know, he's just going crazy. And I'm kind of smiling. I've seen it all, right? So I'm okay, whatever, sure. I let him finish. And then we sit down and we regroup. And you know, the next day we come in, and I'm like, I would like, listen, you're not using my phone, eh? Like, you trash your phone. Don't come to me for my phone.
Straight up, man. So you gotta use a flip phone, man.
So we turned it into a little joke, but the reality was we were pissed because for many of them, they thought now that we had lost to Spain, we knew that we were going to have to go to the U.S. in order to make the gold medal game. Like, along the way now, because of crossover rules, we weren't able to kind of avoid them. So there was no avoiding them. And in the end, we ended up playing the U.S. in the semi and beat them.
Yep,
and got to the final and beat Italy in the final. And
huge moment in Canada basketball.
And won a world championship. And again, it goes back to mental toughness, right?
That's it.
Like, we didn't necessarily have our most, you know, our A list of talent, but we had a group that was as tough as shit.
Yeah.
They didn't give up, and they kept fighting, and they came together, and they bought in, and we did something really special. So that was, you know, a unique challenge because of our talent. With the senior team, when I qualified the senior team for the World Cup, I mean, that second half of qualifying, when we were in our second phase, we were rolling. Like, we were blowing teams out by 20. We were playing some of the best basketball that I'd ever seen us play as a national team program. The challenge was we always had different players coming in every window. There was a lot of guys in and out, guys were available. Now, so you're basically coaching a different team almost every time you step on the court.
Right.
And that was a challenge for the players. That was a challenge for us as coaches. But you know what? They were great. Like, they just found a way to commit to the mission, which was to try and qualify. And they put aside their egos. And even though we had so much turnover, like, it was an incredible group. And, you know, we got into the World Cup, and then I passed on the baton, and here we are, I don't know, 3-4 years later.
4 years later.
Coach, is that the toughest thing, is like to try to get these guys to put their ego aside? Is that the toughest thing when you're coaching like 8 NBA players and, you know, high major players?
You know, I think sometimes it's really more them trying to establish kind of the pecking order within the group, right? Like, it's easy to say, hey guys, like, put your egos aside, and we're going to, you know, we're going to develop our roles. You know, we're going to stay within those roles.
Right.
But sometimes within, right? Like, listen, when this national team comes together again, and we bring all the 12 guys together, whoever they are, you know, the challenge for Nick Nurse and whoever else he's got with him is going to be, okay, well, who's the leader, right? Because, I mean, Tristan's walking in saying, I'm the leader. Corey's walking in saying, I'm the leader.
Right.
Jamal Murray might be saying, well, I'm the leader. Shea might be saying, well, you know what? It's my time now.
Right.
Like, Dylan Brooks is saying, screw all you guys. I don't care. It's my team. Right? And I love Dylan. So like the
that,
inner,
right?
the inner dynamics sometimes are a little bit trickier than even what a coach has to bring to the table, right? They got to figure that out on their own. So sometimes that can be a challenge, especially when you haven't been together very often, right? So we'll see. Hopefully we get everybody together and they can kind of figure it out.
Yes,
that's
I
the
hope
plan,
so.
man. Let's do it, man. Let's try and get a gold out here, man.
Absolutely.
Play Egypt in the gold medal game.
Let's do it. Imagine it. That'll be dope.
So, Coach, the Nike Hoop Summit. Let's talk about that. I know one year you had Lindell playing for you, and let's talk about the years that you've done that and your experience with that.
Yeah, I think my first year was like in 2010.
2010 or 2012?
Maybe it's 2000. Like, it's been somewhere in. It's been 10 years now, so I'm thinking it might be 2012, right?
I think it's 2012.
And I never dreamed that I would be coaching a Nike Hoop Summit, right? Mark Bain, my good friend from Nike, you know, one of my best friends. He basically when they had a change. There was an opportunity to change a coach because the coach prior to me was a guy named Rob Beveridge, who's Australian and a coach in the Australian Pro League. And what happened was their playoffs landed on the same week as the Hoop Summit. So he couldn't do it because he had to be with his team for playoffs. And it opened up the job. And Mark was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to put your name in. And I was like, yeah, they're not going to hire me. Like, who the hell? I'm a high school coach in Toronto. I said, no, like, you know what? And let's go for this. So we moved forward. When I got the opportunity, I was blown away. George Raveling was a huge part of that. And been a big supporter of mine.
Right.
Yeah, in my career. And my first Hoop Summit, I had probably the best story of that. We had Kevin Pangos at the time, and there was some controversy in Toronto because Mike Kabongo wasn't selected.
Exactly.
Kevin Pangos was selected.
Right.
And some fingers were pointed at me, and I'm like, "Shit, man! I just took this thing. I didn't even know what it is. I'm trying to learn what it is." And all of a sudden, everybody's blaming me for Kabongo not being in it. Kabongo was my guy. He went to Eastern, right?
Eastern, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I get down there, and a great story of the Hoop Summit is Bismack Biyombo was on my first Hoop Summit team. Bismack and I are still close till this day, and Biz went in 6 months from being completely unknown, playing basketball in Yemen and in Jordan, to ending up in Spain, to ending up in the Hoop Summit. He flew in from Spain, got to Portland, came to the gym. I said, listen, you can take the first day off because, you're jet lagged, you traveled. He said, no, coach, I'm ready. So he suited up, got on the floor, and he literally kicked everybody's ass all week. He's the second player in Hoop Summit history outside of Kevin Garnett to have a triple-double in the Hoop Summit.
Wow.
And then he went from being completely unknown in 6 months to becoming the 7th pick in the draft. Wow. And that was my first experience.
Yo, shout out
watching a guy go from nowhere.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out Bismack. Yo, because
he went that
coach,
high?
But time out. He just got sent to Phoenix, being away from the game for a little bit,
10 days.
And he's contributing like crazy right now. I think he got another 10-day.
No, he
signed
for the year. He signed for the year.
He's built like that, man. Shout out Bismack, man.
He is. He is built like that. Talk about mental toughness.
Toughness.
The one thing that right? Like, so he was in Charlotte last year. He was a free agent. He did not get signed. He did not get a contract. Wow. So what does he do? He just works out and stays in shape and stays ready because he knows at some point in time he's going to get a call. And he got the call, and look at him now. Like I'm not even saying he's going to finish the year, but somebody else is going to sign him. He's going to get another deal now. He's going to play for another
Raptors, don't play,
3
man.
years.
Somebody got to pick up Bismack, man. Hopefully he comes back to the 6.
Somebody's got to pick up Bismack.
Now they got 3 bigs over there now, Phoenix.
And just to piggyback off the Hoop Summit, I think you're being a little modest, coach. You have the most wins. You have the most championships in the Hoop Summit. Like, I think you hold the record for the most wins. Is that true?
Yeah.
There you go.
I do.
Come on, baby.
I
do.
And I'm the winningest. I'm the winningest world team coach in Hoop Summit history, and I'm also the longest serving world team coach in Hoop Summit history. So, something that I never even imagined be an opportunity has become kind of part of my story, which is very cool. But look, think about all the players I've coached. Listen, it's not hard to win games when you've got Embiid, Jokic, Wiggins, Murray, Ben Simmons, Karl Towns Jr. I've coached all those guys. So, like, all the stars of the game right now are guys that I had a chance to kind of touch a little bit as they went on their journey. So yeah, it's been pretty special.
No, that's phenomenal right there, man. Phenomenal. And shout out Mark Baines, man. Former Concordia alumni. You know what I mean? So shout him out for
absolutely.
Me. Hope he sees this. You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Shout out.
I'm going to send it to him for sure.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So how did you? Oh, sorry. Okay. How did you become? Let's move over a bit. In regards to summer league play. So how did you become a guest coach at the NBA Summer League for Utah Jazz in 2014 and the San Antonio Spurs in 2015?
Yeah. So again, I think some of it is related to the Hoop Summit, right? I mean, typically when you're involved with really high level players, teams will take notice. They'll want to build a relationship with you. Often so that they can learn more about players, but sometimes it's genuinely because they're curious about you as a coach. And what happened in Utah was the Jazz had a mini camp in June where they brought in like 40 players, and they just kind of did a little kind of a workout, and then they did a little tournament. So they brought in 4 coaches to coach the 4 teams in the mini camp, and they asked me to be one of them, along with a guy named Kurt Townsend, who was at Kansas. So they had a bunch of pretty high major D1 coaches coaching the teams. So I got a chance to kind of come on board when Quinn Snyder had just got hired in Utah. My team won the mini camp. That went well. I got a chance to kind of build some relationships with the Jazz, and then they asked me if I would come in and coach, help them with the summer league team. Wow. So I got a chance to do that, and then I got a chance to know R.C. Buford a little bit in San Antonio, who's become a really good friend of mine. And
he's the GM or the
he offered me the opportunity to come in. He's the president and the GM. Him and Pop are the legendary two guys that run the organization.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So again, Hall of Famer, legendary guy. So he brought me into work, and I worked with Becky Hammond. She was the head coach of Summer League that year. I was her assistant, and we actually won the NBA Summer League that year. So I have a little bit of an NBA championship.
Coach over there?
Summer League championship.
She's still assistant coach over there,
but she will be leaving. She will, but she's leaving at the end of the year to take over as the head coach, I think, of the Las Vegas Aces in the
WNBA. Yes.
Yeah. Really talented coach. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, I've had a number of kicks at the can in the summer league with a lot of different programs, and got to learn a lot there. It's been a lot of fun.
Definitely. And I mean, that's how everybody gets a chance to know you too, right? Building the relationships, and you're just that Canadian face. Not a lot of Canadians get opportunities like this. You know what I mean? So shout out to my man, Coach Rana, man.
Yeah. Hopefully more will, right? I mean, that's what it is, right? Hopefully more coaches can get that opportunity and start to make their own impact. So I've been very fortunate. There's no question.
All right.
Amen to that. So, Coach, your motto's always been mental toughness. Let's talk about that bubble experience, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's shift it to the NBA. Oh man, that bubble experience.
Yeah. How was it in there?
Yeah. I would tell you that it was like being in a science fiction movie. It was, you get there, you're immediately tested. You're in your room for 48 hours quarantining. You have people coming to your door, knocking on your door, testing you. And then you come out of there and you're given a wristband, and you got to scan in and scan out everywhere. There's digital boards everywhere you go. You have to kind of scan to get into a certain area and access. We tested twice a day for almost 60 days. It was very, very futuristic, and unfortunately that's kind of become a little bit of our new reality. So it was crazy. It was kind of cool because you're all in the same place, right? And you're kind of hanging out with the same people, and you're walking down the hall, and LeBron's walking down the hall, and you know what? I got more of an international competition vibe. We had a little bit more of that type of feel, because in international competitions, you're not really quarantined, but you'll go away for 3 weeks with your group, and you'll see the same teams, and you'll practice and scrimmage against them, and then you'll come together and play a tournament. So it had a little bit of that feel, right? AAU's quick, right? You go for a weekend, you're in and out. National team stuff, you're there for a long time. It's like 3-4 weeks, right? So it had a little bit more of that feel, but it was crazy. But it was cool, right? I mean, we beautiful. You're on Disney. You're in Florida. You can go out to the pool every day if you want.
Right.
You just can't leave. That's all.
Would you say that was one of the hardest championships ever?
Absolutely, no question about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't think people really understand how hard that was for everybody that was there. I was there for, I think, 6 weeks. The teams that went to the final were there for almost 3 months, right? They were there for a lot. That's a long time to be away from your family. That's a long time to be getting tested every day. That's a long time to be eating the same food. Right. That's a long time to just be with the same people, right? Like the three of us. If the three of us are, in the same place for 3 months, like, trust me, we're gonna get on each other's nerves at some point in time.
And now you gets on my nerves all day, every day, man. So I could only imagine how it would be for 3 months.
There you go. So, it was challenging.
So, Coach, real quick before we get back to the NBA stuff, but
sure,
you cut Shea back in the day. You mentioned it earlier, but I wanted to bring it back.
Yeah, I cut Shea and Nikhil. I cut Shea and Nikhil
Oh
from the
my
same
goodness.
team
Are there any
in
hard
the same
feelings
summer.
like since you've seen
No,
them?
no, no,
Okay,
no,
okay.
no. So I'll tell you why. Right, what happens in international play, especially at the age group level, right? If you're in the second year of an age group championship. So let's say you're in the, you have 18-year-olds and these guys are 16 and they're trying out for the 18 team. They're very young for that group. And the problem with both Shea and Nikhil that summer is they physically were just way far behind, right? They were like, both of them were like toothpicks. They looked like they were 14.
Right.
They were talented. Their talent didn't completely jump out at that point in time, but physically they just weren't ready. So we made a decision to keep them out that summer. And then they came back the following summer and made the team and had a tremendous impact. So I think it actually worked out okay for them because at least they knew when they did play, they were actually the ones, they had a major impact, right?
Yeah.
Because if I did put them on the team that year, they might not have played, and then they might have been like, oh, I didn't get a chance to play, and then they're all sour, and then they don't come back. At least when they did play, they were like, they had a feature role.
No, I mean,
so it worked out.
Both players got a chip on their shoulder. Every time I watch them play, they play with a chip on their shoulder. So I was like, do they have that chip because of my man, Coach Rana? You know what I mean? But,
no.
Well, thank you for clearing that up.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Nikhil plays with a chip on his shoulder. Shea has a ridiculous confidence. There's no chip on Shea's shoulder because he just thinks that he's the best. Yeah, right. Like he I think you can kind of see he kind of doesn't feel like he needs to prove himself. Whereas Nikhil's got a little bit more of that, and he hasn't had the same opportunity either. Nikhil, right? So Nikhil's still trying to find his place, and Shea's obviously become one of the best guards in the NBA.
Is Shea an all-star this year, Coach?
If they were winning more, yes, no question. Based on talent, yeah, absolutely. But the way these things work,
his numbers are there.
Yeah. Based on talent, there's no question.
Wins matter though.
An all-star, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's part of the.
So then is LeBron going to be an all-star this year?
Yeah,
that's LeBron. Lifetime achievement.
Because I'm just saying.
Well, the other piece of it is fan voting, right?
Right.
And OKC
fan voting is for the starters,
as far as the market is concerned. Right. So, but that's why LeBron will be in for the rest of his career. Doesn't matter whether he plays or not.
Right.
But when it comes to the next 5 or 6 guys, I mean, Shea's certainly going to be in that conversation, but I think it's going to be hard for him right now because of that. I hope he does. I mean, he's certainly got a case. There's no question. I mean, when you compare him to the rest of the guards, I mean, you could certainly make a case for him to be an all-star. He's an all-star talent. There's no question about that.
Facts.
So, Coach, I want to know how was your experience, man, coaching with the Sacramento Kings?
Amazing and challenging at the same time, right? I mean, lots of really young talent, great promise, exciting, but we just didn't find ways to win. Like we could not get a consistent winning season in front of us, and the team's still struggling. We're still trying to find our footing. There's great young talent, but hopefully at some point in time it clicks and we can go on a little bit of a run and find some consistency. Because my experience, with the Kings the last 2 seasons was, we'd go on a 5-game win streak, and then we'd go on like a 10-game losing streak or an 8-game.
Right.
We would like 6, and so it was just like up and down and up and down and up and down. I think we just got to find that.
That balance. Well, hopefully, I'm hearing a lot of trade rumors, and the Kings are in it. I'm hearing Ben Simmons. Well, we never know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, hey, listen, I'm a Ben Simmons fan. I coached him in the Hoop Summit too. Right?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. Ben can make an impact. I know Ben's faced a lot of criticism and he's got a lot of haters out there, but Ben's a winner. He moves the needle. There's no question.
He does.
I'm one of them. Yeah. Yo, I like Bagley though. I like Bagley. Sacramento, I think they were trying to trade that guy for a while.
Darren Fox, they got some studs over there.
No, they do have studs. Definitely have studs. De'Aaron Fox, Halliburton is very good guard.
Halliburton's a problem.
Buddy Hield obviously is very good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, Coach, you've been named head coach of the Egypt men's basketball team in the Egyptian Basketball Federation. The question is, are you ready for the challenge?
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
You say,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no question about it. I wouldn't have taken the job if I didn't think I was ready for the challenge. I wouldn't have taken the job if I didn't really believe that we could take this country and this group of guys to the World Cup.
Right.
And that's the goal. The goal is to get them to the World Cup. They haven't been to the World Cup in a long time, but there's some talent. The federation is well organized. Egypt's well financed, one of the best economies in Africa.
Nice.
They've done a great job of making me not say no. Like they just did not allow me to say, hey, nah, this is not what I want. Like they made me say yes. And I'm super excited about leading that country. It's my third country now. I've done Canada, I've done Germany, and now I get a chance to get on the continent and lead Egypt. It's a tremendous honor. Like who would have ever thought, man? When we were riding up, when we were in the car, or when you were doing chin ups in the flipping weight room at Jeffrey's.
The pyramid joints you introduced
me
to.
The pyramids, right? Who would have ever thought that here I would be later we'd be doing a podcast and I'd be talking about coaching Egypt.
That's what I'm saying. I got to start calling you Passport Gang, man. Like your passport's filled with different stamps, locations, man. Different stamps, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that leads to this question, coach, is like you coached at all these different levels. Like what keeps motivating? Like
yes.
What keeps pushing you, man? NBA, international. It's a lot.
Well, I'd say probably a couple of things. One is definitely this, right? Getting a chance to watch Woods kind of see you grow into who you've become, right? I mean, any coach loves his players and loves to see them grow and have an impact. And I think that, right? I stay connected to a lot of the guys and I celebrate a lot of their successes. And I also, feel the pain when there's failure. So, it's all about that, right? Those are the greatest rewards, are those relationships that we build that start as, I was 24 when I started at Jeffrey's. Right. And now I'm looking at some of these guys. Somebody sent me a picture of, Phil sent me a picture of like Paul and Richard Malcolm said, I think they're like turning like 45 or something. What the hell? 45?
Almost touching 50, man.
Shit. They're making me feel young. I'm feeling young right now. They're turning 40. So that's certainly some of it. And then obviously, I love to learn and I love challenge, right? I mean, I want to keep pushing myself, see how good I can be. And I'm a competitor. I love to win. There's nothing greater than a great win.
Yes.
So yeah, I still got a lot of fire in me. I still got a lot of juice in me, and I want to keep going as far as I can go.
Let's go. Well, you're doing it.
Amazing.
So quickly, when you hear these names, what's the first thing that comes to mind? All right. Jermaine Anderson.
Rock.
Brother.
Hold up, coach. Hold up, coach. I got a message from Jermaine Anderson. All right. So answer the question first, and then we'll get into Coach Rock's response to you.
Okay.
So what do you think? When you hear about Jermaine Anderson? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
So you want me to answer this right now, or you're going to tell me what Jermaine's got? Okay.
You answer it, then you'll hear from Jermaine.
Are we talking about from a basketball perspective, or are we just talking
just Jermaine Anderson, the person,
human,
as a person,
brother,
basketball player?
He's become like a brother to me. Like he's just somebody who's very, very important in my life, and admire and respect him and his journey and who he is as a person. So yeah, again, another great example of someone who started off as a player and now has become like a brother.
Amazing guy.
Well, we got a clip. From Jermaine. He just wanted to hail you up. So check this out.
And love to my former coach, mentor, and close friend, Roy Rana. Coach, I just want to say that it's been an incredible honor to be a part of your journey. From your humble beginnings at Jeffrey's to leading Eastern to numerous officer championships, to leading Ryerson to a national championship game, and seeing your ability to lead a group of young international superstars year after year at the Hoop Summit has been a joy to watch. Even though you've coached at the highest level by becoming an NBA assistant coach, and even with all your international success, by leading our federation to numerous medals, the most memorable being a gold medal with our U19 group. You're an Olympian with the German national team, and I don't think a Hollywood writer could have written a better script from winning that championship in Cairo, Egypt, to now becoming the senior men's national team coach for the Egyptian Federation is a blessing, to say the least. So I just want to say that I appreciate you. Thank you for being an inspiration for the next generation of coaches and athletes out there. And I just want to say that I love you and continue to be great. And thank you for everything that you've done for me personally, but for the global basketball community. Take care.
Coach Rand, did you hear that?
Well, I send it to me again on the side. I want to hear it again.
I'll definitely send it to you.
So
Definitely.
yeah.
I got another individual here.
Okay.
When you hear Jermaine Smalls, what's the first thing that comes to mind as the person and baller?
Yet another one. Yeah. Let's talk about mental toughness and resilience. I mean, what an incredible story there, right? I mean, he was kind of just shows you, right, like how life can change so quickly. I mean, love Jermaine Smalls. And, sometimes, you have people that come into your life and then they drop out of your life for a bit and they come back in. And
right.
He's another one who's become so special to me and always has been, right? So he's another brother for me. And, when he left Queens, it was tough for him. And I'm not sure we kind of knew what was going to happen with him. And then the way he's responded, talk about mental toughness and what he's become and who he's become as a coach. Super proud of him. So yeah, I mean, nothing but love there.
All right. Well, Jermaine has a little something to say to you as well. We got a clip.
Hey man, first thing I think about when I hear the name Roy Rana is just a mentor, a visionary, a leader, but more importantly, my friend, man. And I just want to say congrats on all your success. How deeply I appreciate our relationship and you always being there for me through the good and the bad, and how proud I am of you and your journey. I know it's far from over, but at the same time, I just want to stop and say, man, it never goes unnoticed what you've done for the game, especially in Canada. All love, and let's keep it going, man. Got so much more to go.
Keep pushing.
Yes, sir. That's
amazing.
Amazing.
Love it. Love it.
Jermaine Smalls, everybody, And lastly, I have to throw myself in there.
Let's go.
When you hear about Chris Blackwood, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Annoying, right? No, I'm joking. Go, coach. Go, coach.
Yeah, eh? All right.
I mean, Chris, wow. I mean, what an incredible story you have, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so honored that you're part of my life, and you were at my wedding and I was at your wedding, and
Definitely.
we're way more than just coach and former player, right? I mean, that it started on a bus ride for you from Weston Collegiate that turned into a decision to come to Jeffries and think about what that's become. I mean, listen, you didn't jump the highest, you weren't the fastest guy in the gym,
nope,
but you were always, one of the best players on the floor, if not the best player on the floor. And all of that was mental and heart. And yeah, no question. And I have tremendous respect for it. So nothing but love. You are someone who people should try to emulate, because you got everything you could out of yourself as a basketball player, and you continue to do that now as a father, and all of your entrepreneurial interests and all the things that you're doing. I think you're an inspiration. So hopefully some young people see that and try to follow it.
Definitely. All right, bet. Well, thank you, Coach. The love is always there, and we're gonna continue to build. That's what we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
absolutely.
So we have a segment called Rapid Questions.
Yes.
All right. So we're just gonna ask you some questions. You're gonna shoot your answer, and we'll take it from there. All right.
Coach, I want to know Giannis or KD.
Giannis, only because of my time in the NBA. KD was injured, so we didn't get to see him very often. But certainly Giannis, just a force. Maybe the best, if not, one of the best athletes in NBA history.
Yeah.
And when you have, basically a 7-footer that can do what he can do, like there's no way to stop it unless you throw multiple bodies at him, and he can beat you in every way possible. Yeah, and he just beats you every way possible. Relentless energy, effort, toughness. Yes. Yeah. And again, what an incredible story of. He's almost superhuman, right? He's like a cartoon character. Almost. He really is.
Definitely. All right, Coach. Steph or Kyrie?
Steph, no question.
Mm.
For me, because the one thing
that one hurt for him, Coach. That one hurt him. That one hurt him right there, Coach.
Well, I just say, look,
Coach had a little bit more insight. He had a little more insight. You got to prepare for him, right? So,
Kyrie off the dribble is arguably one of the best in history.
Mm-hmm.
Steph off the dribble, like off the ball, and with the ball in his hands is just too much to deal with. So like he had I had the Golden State scout, last season. So the game plan was revolving around how to stop him. And the problem is that he never stops moving, whether he has the ball in his hands or not. So you always have to be aware of him, and you have to give him so much attention that he opens up the floor for so many other people just by his movement. He doesn't even have to have the ball, and things open up for his teammate. And then when you put the ball in his hands, he can get to the rim, he can play pick and roll, he can shoot it from half court. Like there's just no way to stop him. He's just a nightmare to game plan for. He's a nightmare to game plan for. So I would say, Steph is hard to game plan for. Kyrie, obviously super talented off the dribble, no question.
I've never disagreed with you, Coach, so I'm going to rock with you. I'm going to humble myself.
Wow, finally somebody got him.
I'm going to humble myself.
Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid, Coach? Who do you have?
Oh shit! I honestly, I love both those guys.
Right.
I'm still pretty close with them. I'm still pretty close with it. Yeah, I'm still pretty close with Embiid. We still talk, and I don't know. Head to head, that's a tough one. It really is. I mean, listen, Jokic is MVP. He won it. He deserved it. He earned it. I mean, he's the best passing five man maybe since Bill Walton. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who else is out there. Maybe the best of all time. But Embiid is just an absolute force in every which way he possibly can. So
I think Joker.
If I'm taking a team, yes. But if I'm going to take one guy right now, just because because of my relationship with him, I'm going to take Embiid. I'm going to say Embiid.
I think Embiid is the better defender. Like I think he's a pretty good rim protector. But I think Joker is just like his passing is just crazy. They both could shoot.
Yeah.
From deep.
Yeah.
But I would take Embiid as well. I'm going with Embiid.
All right.
This one's tough right here, Coach.
Let's get some Canadian content real quick, Coach. We got Shea or Jamal Murray.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
That's a hard one, man. I don't know if I should be answering that. Well, I'll tell you this. If, going on like a, heat check wise, it's Jamal Murray. There's no question. There's nobody that when he gets going who's unstoppable. Like
give you 50.
He can go on a 20 he can go on a 20-hole run by himself. That's Jamal Murray, right? Mentally, one of the most incredible athletes I've ever coached. Love him to death. Hopefully he comes back from injury even better than he was before.
Right. He will.
And Shea's just kind of, he's just established this level and consistency now that's pretty scary, right? He's become so elite in the game. Yeah.
And I don't know, man.
I don't know. I can't answer that one. I can't answer that one.
All right. Well,
it's hard. Jamal's not playing. How do I answer that? Yeah.
And you know what? I would choose Shea just because Jamal's not playing right now. That's the only reason why I would go with Shea.
Right. That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
But both of them are definitely a problem.
Yeah.
So, Coach, this is one that everybody talks about all the time. LeBron or Jordan?
Shit. I'm going to say LeBron. I'm going to say LeBron, and I'm not, and I'm going to say LeBron because what he's been able to do for as long as he's been able to do it, and that championship in the bubble was a separator for me, right? I mean, again, now Jordan was a killer, but he did it in a more condensed period of time, right?
Right.
And statistically, when you look at LeBron, what he's been able to do the ball. You know, he's now the best center on the Lakers. He's also the best point guard on the Lakers. Like he can just do things that nobody else in the game has been able to do. Now, who's your closer? Who's going to win you a championship? It's still Jordan. Jordan has the greatest killer mentality of all time. But just over the course of a career, what LeBron's been able to accomplish, just for me, I'm going to give it to LeBron.
Okay.
Oh, that's deep right there.
We're going to be talking about this a lot.
Oh, I can see it now. I can see it now. Oh my goodness. All right, Coach, we're gonna switch it up to stadiums. Okay? Madison Square Garden or the Crypto.com Arena, formerly known as the Staples Center?
Madison Square Garden. Yeah, I mean, it's just got a certain, listen, I grew up a Laker fan, so being able to, coach in Staples and just that was an incredible experience. But the energy in Madison Square Garden is a little bit different. It really is. The fans are a little crazier. It's old. It's historic. That was a pretty special experience. I'll go with MSG.
Okay.
Chase Center or Footprint Center?
Again, I'm going to go with Chase Center here now. Like Phoenix is, energy in that arena is relatively new, and obviously the Warriors moving into the Chase Center is relatively new. But I've been in the Chase Center and been in the locker room and been in the coach's room, and that is the best arena in the NBA right now. It's unbelievable. If you want to just like feel how incredible a facility is at the highest level of professional sport, the Chase Center is that, right? I think it cost them something like over $1 billion to make it. It's insane. It's insane what they did.
Wow.
It's really, really cool.
Okay, Coach. We got the Scotiabank Arena or the Barclays Center.
Yeah, so I've coached Jordan Brand games at Barclays. I've obviously now been at Barclays a number of times with the NBA. It's cool, but it doesn't match the Scotiabank Center.
Let's
it doesn't
go.
have the energy. Raptors fans are far more into games. Like the Barclays Center has, the Barclays Center has that cool factor, right?
Yeah, they're too bougie.
Right. But Scotiabank Center is live. It's got a different energy. So I'm going with Scotiabank Center over Barclays. That's for sure.
I agree. Right. So here's some random questions, Coach. Eastern Commerce or Bathurst Heights?
I mean, it's got to be Eastern Commerce. But I'll tell you a little story.
Man,
there's no program. There's no program I respect more than Bathurst Heights. What Mado was able to do there with Denham and Big Shane and those guys, and then Wayne Smith before that. I mean, I took a lot of L's to Bathurst. Junior Brown. I took a lot of L's to Bathurst, but
they were tough. Mado is an excellent coach. Mado for sure.
Yeah. There's no question. I have a ton of respect for him and what the program was about. But in the end, over the course of Eastern's, they were able to do and the winning and the players and Bathurst had a great gym. But if you ever walk into Eastern's gym and you see where that all happened in that little shoebox in that little dungeon that wasn't even a regulation sized court, the weight room was a dungeon in the dungeon, right. So to be able to produce excellence in that gym itself is pretty special.
I agree.
All right, let's go with C.W. Jeffries or Westview.
Jeffries, of course, man. Listen,
Jeffries.
There's no question. I'll tell you one. I'll take up a quick good stories. Listen, whenever the battle of Finch went down, we knew there was a lot of money being bet on that game.
Definitely.
But
we would always win.
If you look, and we would, the winning percentage favored us for sure over the course of our time. There's no question. Jeffries had its run, man. Its run for sure. No
yes,
question.
Sir.
Okay, I don't want to ask this question, Coach. Malton Ballers or Jane and Finch Ballers?
So I have to say Jane and Finch Ballers, not because I disrespect Malton Ballers, but I didn't have experience with Malton Ballers. My experience came in Jane and Finch, right? So those
I already knew
that's
this
where
was
I
going
worked.
to happen.
That's where I worked. That's where I worked. That's kind of where I cut my teeth. So, listen, I tease Answe all the time, right? I mean, Carr had the they brought, the Marin Academy guys over to Carr, and it kind of beefed up their roster. And I remember they beat us once at Humber with Theo Davis and Antwi at the Humber Classic. Yeah, they beat us at the Humber Classic. And then they never beat us again for like the next 8 years while I was at Eastern. So we kind of had their number a little bit, but that was a great community, and still is. I mean, incredible basketball in that community, no question.
Well, I couldn't have said it better, Coach.
Go ahead.
All right, Coach. Are you still familiar with Patty's? I know you've been in Southern Cal for a minute.
Yeah. Of course, we don't have them down here.
I could imagine that you're missing out.
Yep.
Tennell Patties or Randy Patties, if you had to pick between the two.
So I'm going to tell you, like, Randy sounds more familiar to me right now, so I'll go with Randy's. But there was a shop at Dovercourt and Bloor.
Yes.
And if anybody knows there, that had the best patties in the city. I just don't remember the name. That was
okay.
A patty and a cocoa bread. It was like 75 cents. It was killer back then.
Oh, it's not 75 cents no more. That's probably like $5. But All right. So, Coach, I know you're in Southern California. We got Lansdowne or Southern California, if you had to pick between the two.
Oh, shit. Listen, I'll tell you this. It was 17, not a cloud in the sky, and sunny today in Northern California.
Damn.
I had a great run at Lansdowne and loved my time in Toronto. I'm still passionate. I still have my home in Toronto. But I'll take Southern California any day right now. I mean, that's just kind of the weather, the lifestyle. It's hard to beat. Cali life is good life.
Yeah, the snow down here right now. Traffic. Treacherous.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, Coach, this is the last question. Drake or Jay-Z? Who do you have?
I'll stay with my home. I got to represent my hometown. Drake's the guy. I gotta give it to him. I'm sure Jay-Z's got his, he's got his people, and if you're from Toronto, Drake's our people, right? So we got to represent.
It's kind of crazy. You said LeBron over Jordan, and Drake over Jay-Z. Something to talk about later.
There you go.
There's a lot to talk about in this interview. A lot.
Yes, man. Roy,
Coach,
thank you,
we
man.
appreciate you for coming by, man. This is
guys.
Amazing. This is amazing.
You're my guy, man. I love you to death, bro.
You guys are doing amazing stuff, and I got a chance to kind of pay a little bit of attention to what you did with Denim and having Denim on. That was amazing. I loved seeing Denim. I loved seeing him get a chance to kind of share his story, right? I mean, it's so important.
Right.
Like, I don't think people like what's happened in Toronto is everything has become everything's become Raptors, right? And nobody really knows the history of the game, right? Like Iggy, not a lot of people know that, like, who you were, and where you played and how important you were, right? Like, and that's sad to me. I mean, I and so keep those stories alive, because these young guys, they have no idea. They have no idea, man.
This is the reason.
They have no idea. They have no idea. We need to do a better job of educating the young people coming up.
Absolutely. I agree.
That's what this platform's for, man. That's what this platform's for.
Well, you keep doing it, and I'm here to help any way I can. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the love,
all right, fellas.
Always.
Support. You're a legend, man. You're a legend.
Listen, I'm just happy to be part of the community. So good luck, fellas, and I'm here for you anytime you need.
All right.
Thank you. Roy Rana, everybody.
Yes. All right, man.
All right, fellas. All love.
Thanks, bro.
I was in the trap OG, serving